Welcome to Not the 9 to 5,
the podcast for freelancers
by freelancers.
Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out,
join us as we share insights, tips and stories
to help you thrive in the world of independent work.
I'm Kat.
And I'm Francesca.
We are two freelancers exploring the highs, lows
and everything in between. So grab your coffee, kick back,
and let's dive into another episode of Not the 9 to 5.
Katheryn Siggers.
Francesca Marago.
Hello.
Hello. How are we?
We're good. You?
Are you sure about that?
I am. I've had some technical difficulties.
You
this
have
morning,
had a few technical
but we are getting through it. So
we
it's
are.
All good.
And we've got a very special guest on this show today. We've got Pam Cheney. She's an enthusiastic graphic designer specialising in branding, print and web design. She started her freelancing business just after COVID started, finding a majority of her clients on Upwork, and has never looked back. She loves working with change makers on projects that drive positive social and environmental impact. Welcome, Pam.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Let's dive in. Tell us a little bit about your experience as a freelancer. How did you get into graphic design? Tell us all.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's a long story, but basically I studied graphic design in Montreal, where I'm from. And when I graduated from there, I moved to Scotland and I worked as a graphic designer in Scotland for 2 years as an in-house packaging and branding designer, which was amazing. And then I moved back to Montreal and I worked in a more corporate setting and did a lot more like catalogs and ads and brochures and all that kind of fun stuff. For bigger companies. So I've kind of been a bit everywhere. And then I moved to New Zealand. So where I am now at the moment is in New Zealand, and worked for a company that had a lot more projects that were environmentally or socially focused, which was quite fun. Mm-hmm. And then when COVID hit, I was a bit, I had just quit my job because my partner and I, we were going to go travel and see the world a bit.
Oh, wow.
And I was a bit stuck. So, you couldn't really find a job during COVID. And I thought it was a good time to start learning how to freelance. And since I had worked at all these different companies and worked with some amazing teams, I was able to build a freelance base and get started there. And it's been really fun. I didn't think I'd like it, but I'm loving it.
And it says in your bio that you got the majority of your clients on Upwork. So how did you go about doing that?
Yeah, so I started on Upwork right at the beginning, really. So I was looking for a platform because I didn't really have any connections to start freelancing just off the bat. I needed something to help me find clients, basically. So I kind of Googled what platforms were out there, and Upwork came up, and other ones like Fiverr, and a New Zealand-based one called Unicorn Factory was great too. But Upwork really helped me get probably like 70 or 80% of my workload to start, which was a lot. And it was good to get me going. And even now, whenever I have a lull and a quiet time, I just go to Upwork and I can easily find work. It was a bit harder at the beginning because it's a platform that uses like your references. So people that leave you like reviews and stuff and see that your projects have completed successfully contribute to the trustworthiness of your profile. So it took a little while to curate that and build it up. But once it was set and I had a few good reviews under my belt, it was really easy for me to get some work and just kind of be able to pick and choose the jobs I wanted to work on and get excited about a project.
Yeah. Wow. So how did you then create so it was Upwork primarily that was getting you the work. Yeah. So what do you, when you join Upwork and you create a graphic designer profile, what do you need to showcase in that? What's the best way to showcase your work on that platform?
What I found worked for me was a few things. So you can write like a blurb. And I thought, initially I had like a long worded blurb, but I changed it up midway through to like starting off with bullet points. Like, this is what I do. Bang, bang, bang. I'm trustworthy. I work efficiently, and I do branding and I do web design. And then right away people know, okay, I fit in that bucket or I don't. And then I go into detail. Like, this is how I work. This is my process. And I show that I'm a good communicator, because I think a lot, like Upwork is very, very big. There's a lot of designers out there, or different freelancers on the platform. Not all of them have good communication skills. And I found that my clients, the main aspect of my work that they value, or the biggest thing they value, is my communication. Because they know that I'm able to ask the right questions. They know I'm not going to leave them hanging, that I'm going to complete the job and see it through. Where that doesn't always happen, especially on a big platform like Upwork. There's going to be some that fall through the cracks and aren't as good a freelancer to work with. So just showing them right away that you're able to communicate and you have those skills is a big plus. And then you can also have a little portfolio section where you can showcase some of your work, which is a good quick view to see if the work kind of matches what the client's looking for.
And what sort of graphic design are you into? I guess it's such a broad term, graphic design. So what kind of...
So I primarily do branding, so logos and developing a brand strategy and everything, and web design. But I've kind of done a lot of it throughout my career. So I also do packaging and print and like annual reports and all the fun in between stuff. I don't advertise it as much, but once I've developed a brand for a client, I love then doing all the other little bits and bobs for them, because it just means I get to build out that brand and see it grow and adapt for whatever they need. So that's quite fun.
Yeah. And when you say you do brand strategy, what does that entail?
So it entails kind of figuring out what their core values are, who their target market is, where they're wanting to go in terms of outreach, and then making sure that their logo, their color scheme, everything speaks to their target market and speaks to who they are as well as a company. You want to make sure that it's not just, you're not just trying to, get the clicks or pull in the people. You want to also reflect the owners or the vision behind the company, because that's what usually sells, is the honesty and the authenticity of a brand. So connecting those two and making sure that the image matches who they are and speaks to their target audience.
Wow. And so moving away from Upwork, how did you move away from Upwork?
I think it just kind of happened gradually. So I also was on Unicorn Factory, the New Zealand-based one, but obviously it's a lot smaller. It's just New Zealand-based, so it's going to be, there's not as many projects there. But slowly, word of mouth, clients that I've worked with started talking to other people, and I get recurring work from past clients and their coworkers or associates or friends that need design work as well, and it's just kind of built off that. I've been quite lucky because I'm not very good at social media. I personally, for my own brand, I'm not good at posting. I'm not good at being on Instagram or whatever platform people market themselves on. I get that anxiety of posting and it not being right or perfect, and I'm just I'll just do it later.
Yeah.
We get it.
So, yeah, I've been lucky that just so far I haven't needed to rely on it very much.
Yeah.
And do you have a support network around you that helps you kind of stay in it, stay connected? Did you ever find that there's been sort of ups and downs with establishing yourself as a designer? I guess it's quite a congested market in the sense of so many people can become one. Yeah.
It is. I've got a lot of friends still that I keep in touch with from school and past jobs, that we kind of just bounce ideas off each other, or if we need help with a certain aspect of a project, we chat about it, or if we're having a difficult client, we vent to each other. So we've got that kind of little bit of community where we can chat about those things, which I think really helps. And I also try to stay in touch with conferences and summits that are going on in the design world, so that I'm in touch with the latest technologies or trends or what have you, or tips and tricks. So I think that also helps me stay on track and not get left behind. Because if you're a freelancer, you don't have that team behind you making sure that you heard the latest news or making sure you're using the right tools. But having those little aspects, I think really helped me.
And you mentioned you moved around a lot. Obviously, you're from Canada, and then you're now in New Zealand, and then you're going to move again to Australia. So how's that been with the like as a community of freelancers? Like, do you get to connect with freelancers in the spaces that you are, or do you feel like you're a bit isolated because a lot of your work is, I guess, online and through the internet?
I'd say that probably is the biggest downside, is that I don't have, like, the easiest friends that you make when you move to a new place are the coworkers that you have. So I don't have that luxury, and that does suck. But you find it in other ways. I use my partner's coworkers and take them as my own friends, or I start like a new sport or something, or go out and meet new people. Occasionally I have found like organizations that connect freelancers and try to meet up with them. So we just go on like a picnic, and it's just talk about your work and what you do, and you just kind of sit there in a park on a lovely sunny day and chat about how freelancing is for you and what works for you. And I think that was quite fun. I've not found many of those, but when I do find them, I like to go to them.
Yeah, well, I guess you feel like connected, like people who are going through the same experience as you, right?
Yeah, for sure. You find that connection with those people, and then you stay in touch and you use them as references, or like you even use them as part of the project. Like I've met a few copywriters that way, and I'm just like, now they're my go-to copywriter that I send my clients to. And it's a way of networking without trying to network. It's just friends that you meet and trust.
Yeah.
And you say you love to work with change makers who want to drive positive social and environmental impact. Why is that important to you?
Oh, well, I think it's important. It should be important for most people. I think it's good to, make positive change in the world. But it's important to me because I think, well, I mean, I'm just a graphic designer. I'm not going to be changing the world. But if I can help elevate a brand that will change the world, that will make, somebody's life better, if I can make sure that if I create this outstanding, I don't know, social media kit or this website, that this client, this organization is now able to talk to more people and reach more people and spread their good charity or good intentions, then I think that's really exciting for me. I think I really take pride in that.
Yeah.
And I've had a few really fun clients that do really amazing work, and it's just nice to see them grow and to be able to keep doing work for them.
Yeah. And are you at that point now in your career where you can kind of choose who you want to work with a little bit more, and like if they don't align to your values, then you don't work with them?
Yeah, I definitely do. I think I've always done that to an extent, but I'm able to do so even more now and just really like focus on what projects I like. I mean, I still take projects that aren't necessarily improving the world, but are just going to be fun. They're not damaging the world. They're not negative companies, but they're just, like a nice photographer or a wedding company or something that's just nice and fun to work with. I enjoy working on those projects too, but I definitely try and focus on the positive companies and organizations.
Yeah.
And it's nice that I'm able to choose now and just focus a bit more.
Yeah. And obviously, as you were building your portfolio of work in graphic design, did you feel like you got quite a lot of maybe startups coming to you, or smaller companies, or did you work with big companies off the bat? Like, kind of, how did that happen?
I think it's mainly small companies that were coming to me, and still are now. I think I work well with I like working with startups because I can work with them from the beginning and I can kind of curate their image right away. And I think that's quite fun, and to see that kind of evolve and develop. So I've always worked with mainly startups. I have done some larger projects and with some bigger brand companies that are international, which is quite fun. But I have the startups have a soft place in my heart. I really enjoy working with them.
Yeah,
I guess because you're helping them grow, isn't it? You're establishing.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the fun, is helping them develop and be able to push what they do and make them successful. Yeah.
Is it slightly more difficult when you've got an established brand who's already got their branding, but they just want to change it slightly? Like, is that more difficult to adapt to what they want?
It depends. I think it really depends on the client and how they communicate what they want. If it's a slight tweak, that can often be quite difficult because how slight is slight, you know, like how much of their essence do they want to keep and how much are they willing to push. I tend to like to present a few options when I'm designing things, especially at the beginning. And I tend to choose, like, I'll give them a safe option that's not really too different, and then a few really different options in different, pushing different boundaries to see what they're willing to try. And I think that really, that opens up it helps them think past what they currently are and see what they could be.
Yeah.
And have you ever encountered any like difficult clients or I guess brands that don't really know what they want, you know? I guess
yes, so much. Yeah, it happens all the time. But I've tried to like create and streamline my processes to ask the right questions, and I've got like a 30 question intake brief now that I send to most of the new clients that come my way, to try and be like, simple questions like, if your company was a person, what would they be like who, like, tell me about your company, like in more human qualities, not so much like the business side of things, and try to bring the human into the branding part of it. And I think that really helps get their ideas flowing and get them trying to think about it a bit more outside of the box and not so much just about the picture, just the logo, the end result.
Yeah. I guess like when we were creating our logo, we had that difficulty because we're like creatives and we like,
we had many different ideas.
We want caricatures and like we want to bust out and be like, this is us. And it's like, we were talking to the guys who helped us do it, and they were like, look, you need to chill.
Yeah.
Like, well, they know us. It's not like it wasn't like just like a random company. They know how we like work. Yeah. But they were like, no, like it's quite complicated to do like caricatures and stuff like that. You need to think about, I guess, the initial message that you want to portray and stuff like that, and think about the colorings, and you know, if you wanted different hair colors, you need to think about that blending, because that's not easy. And I was like, no, I want this, and they were like, Francesca, I'm done with you. And then I told Kat, and Kat was like, I was like, do you know what? I'm not going to tell you. I'll just do it, and then I'll show you.
Yeah, and then you can tell me, literally.
Yeah.
Because we're both quite like, we're probably not bad clients, but we're quite particular.
That's
and like, it has to be just right, you know? And I'm sure you encounter that quite a lot.
Yeah, you get that a lot. And I think my end goal is that my client is happy and is proud to present whatever I've created to the world for them.
Yeah.
That's I take the most pride in that. So even if I don't agree, like, I'm going to tell them, this is maybe a better direction, but I'm happy to do it for you, because it's not my brand. I want them to be happy with it. It's their image and it's their brand. As long as I give them all the right information and they understand why it's not necessarily the best decision, or why this might be a better alternative, if they still want to go with the specific direction, I'll do it. I want them to be happy with it because it's theirs.
Of course.
True.
Of course. Have you encountered any struggles in your freelance career? And if you have, how have you then navigated those?
Good question. I think the main struggles would probably be around like the social side of things, and not having those like coworkers that you can like sit and gossip with and hang out with after work and go for a drink. I do Friday drinks with myself and I on Fridays.
Love that.
Right. Try to implement like normal work routines into my solo performance. So yeah, I think that's quite fun. But I think that's probably been the main struggle. And then of course maintaining like a steady flow of work, because it's going to fluctuate. That's normal. It's part of freelance. I think it was really hard at the beginning, ensuring that, you know, I calculate my finances month by month. And so I only try to look at it once a month instead of looking at it constantly, where you're like, oh, well, this week I didn't earn much and this week I earned a lot, and it gets too messy. So I've created systems in place where I'm able to see what I'm earning, and not get too scared. Like, I'm able to see the level, the baseline behind the madness of the income and waiting for clients to pay you and all that stuff. But yeah, it was hard to get jobs at the beginning, hard to create that workflow. But once it was established, it's a lot easier to maintain. So if I've got a slower day or a slower week, I use it to, update my website or do more personal work and like streamline some processes. Or I've got a list of documents that I want to create for myself to help streamline some things. So every once in a while, if I've got a slow day, I do that now. And it just means that when that comes around, I'm able to do it quicker and a bit more efficiently.
Yeah.
So I've found ways to fill the gaps and to make the workflow a bit more enjoyable.
Have you ever thought one time, like, this is not for me, I can't do this, I'm not good enough? Like, have you ever encountered that?
I really thought I was going to. I really thought starting freelancing, like, this was not going to be for me. I would not be able to stick it out. But I haven't had that moment.
It's great.
Like, I'm enjoying it so much. And yeah, there are hard times. There are clients that are difficult to work with, or like I've had a client not pay me, and that sucks. But not to the point where I'm rethinking my freelance career. I'm trying to convert my other designer friends to do freelance because I think it's really great, and like I'm earning twice what I ever earned in a design studio, so can't complain.
Well, there we go. The proof is in the pudding.
Yeah. And do you feel like you need to back yourself constantly when it comes to the financial side of, like, when you do get a client, do you negotiate, I guess, your terms like via email or in a contract or something? Do you get upfront payment?
Yeah, so I've got a contract. Yeah, so what I do now with new clients is I have a contract that they read through, and it just irons out the legal side of things and who's liable for what, and that all their content provided to me needs to be not plagiarized, so copyright free and everything, and that I don't hold any responsibilities for any content that they've plagiarized, and all that kind of nitty gritty lawyer stuff that I've just kind of picked up here and there from conferences and summits where lawyers are talking to designers and telling them what they should include in their contract. So I haven't actually had a lawyer do it, but I've taken bits and pieces. Probably should one day get a lawyer look at it, but anyways. And so new clients, what I do is I get them to pay usually about 25% of the project up front. That way I know they're able to pay and they're going to pay. And then I do it milestone. So let's say I'm doing a website, once I've done the homepage design, then I ask them to pay me a bit, and I don't start the next part of the project without payment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's clever.
That is clever. That's a good system.
Yeah,
and that means you're just a bit safer, because it sucks when clients don't pay. And then once I've established that relationship, I have clients that have been with me for the 4 years that I've been a freelance designer. Them I just charge them monthly. So as the project comes in, as I'm working, I know that at the end of the month I just invoice them and they're willing to pay, and usually don't even quote.
Then you know what you're expecting as well.
It's that stability, isn't it?
Yeah,
creating that stability for yourself.
Yeah,
exactly. So I like to create the relationship where I know I can trust them, and they know they can trust me too. They know that I'm going to deliver the work, and then I'm able to just go with the flow and invoice them as needed.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's really good.
Has there been, like, within the graphic design industry or world, has there been like a big change? And if so, like, how have you kind of gone about changing with it, or like innovating yourself, or has there ever been that?
Well, I mean, I think with AI now, a lot of designers are really scared. Just that, people can just now build a website with AI or build a logo with AI, but that's not great.
Yeah.
And part of that is a lot of designers, a lot of clients, they don't know what they want. Like you guys, you didn't really know what you wanted at first, so you can't tell artificial intelligence what you want when you don't know what you want yourself. So I think that we're going to be safe for a little while at least, but AI has definitely changed the design world, and it's kind of more created cracks and shaken a few boots, if you will. People are a bit scared. But I'm optimistic or blissfully ignorant, either way.
Everyone strives for that human connection, that human touch to things, and it's like, we can easily go on ChatGPT and be like, give us some questions for our podcasters or whatever. But it's not the same. It's not authentic. It's got authenticity. No, it's not original. And it's not, you can't have a conversation, really.
No.
A back and forth creative conversation with a
natural human conversation. And it is getting better. I do implement some of AI into my work now, And I think that's learning to work with it as opposed to just trying to ignore it. And I think that's going to be important for designers to just kind of just make the processes a little bit smoother, or even just ask it really random questions like, how do I do this? I've never done this, and I want to learn, and just kind of learning what resources to look at, just getting that base. But I've been using it lately actually to help me create wireframes. So I'm not a content writer. I do not write. Not one with the words. So I use, a lot of my clients come to me and they don't want to hire a copywriter because they're startups and their budgets are smaller. And I can't really help them with that. But what I can do is I can start them off. And normally what I would do is just put in like lorem ipsum, so like dummy text. And they don't really see the picture the same. But now what I'm doing is I'm putting it in ChatGPT and getting it to write me like a headline and a description of what they do based on our initial brief. Right. And it's not perfect. It needs editing, but it gets their thoughts, like it gets them thinking and being like, actually, that's a good point. Let's tweak this and move this around. And it gets the ball rolling a lot quicker. And I think it gets them a bit more excited about the whole job.
Yeah. I suppose as long as you're clever with the AI in a way that it won't impact you negatively, then it's great to use it.
Exactly. And it doesn't like replace the job of a copywriter, I think. No. It's just kind of just getting them to start seeing the importance of the words and how we can utilize it to explain their message.
So what's one piece of advice then that you would give to those listening in who might want to venture into graphic design, or they're not freelancer yet, but they want to get into it? What advice would you give them?
Good question. I think the main thing, if they're going into freelance in general, I think the most important thing is organization and communication. I think they're the two most important things. So organization and communication. I think if you can communicate clearly with your clients, and honestly, if you can just tell your client, like, actually, I'm not sure about this, let me get back to you. Like, they appreciate that so much more than a bullshit answer that they can tell. You be authentic, be human, and clients are way more forgiving and open to that conversation. You can't be a jack of all trades, so you can say, let me research it and let me look into it, and they just appreciate that so much more than not. So having that good communication where you're also able to explain your designs and explain the process, so they're not lost and left behind, so that they're included in the process. And then organization, I think, is important because as a freelancer, you want to make sure everything is in the right place, that you're not forgetting about a project or leaving an email unanswered, or just leaving something behind or misnaming your files. I think you'll save so much time if you're organized and know where everything is. I've got my Excel sheet. I'm a bit old school and still use Excel for these types of things. But I've got my current projects, and I have a status for each one of them, so I know exactly where I'm at, if I'm waiting on content or if I'm waiting on feedback for a specific thing. That way I'm not having to like go back in the email chain every time and be like, actually, should I chase them up? When was the last time I talked to them? I don't. Where are we at? So I've got it all in one spot. Amazing. It saves me so much time.
That's it's always key.
Definitely. And would you suggest like Upwork as a platform for graphic designers to kind of get started on if they want to dip their toe into?
Actually, probably. I think it's a good place to get started on, especially in the freelance world, because there's just so many types of things that you can, like types of projects that you could work on on Upwork, and you don't. Like, there are a lot of projects that are $5. Like, people are like, this is my budget, it's $5. And you're like, okay.
Move along.
But you can ignore those. Like, I had a project that was, like, in the tens of thousands on Upwork. Like, you can find big ticket clients on Upwork. They're not as common, but if you can get started on the little ones and build your portfolio and build your confidence as a designer on the smaller ones, and also build your reviews, that way the next client that you get will see, like, that you've got a good review. But also look at their reviews, because not all the clients are great to work with either.
That's true. People forget to do that, or they forget to do their research into the client because they think, well, it's a client, it's another one to add to the portfolio. Like, it's fine. But actually, it could affect your reputation, right? As well.
Exactly. It could affect your reputation, and it could just be a headache that's not worth it. So make sure you have that conversation with them first. Yeah.
Definitely.
And I just wanted to ask one more question, that you're now based in New Zealand. What's the freelance lifestyle like there? Like, are there lots of freelancers, would you say, predominantly working in that field there, or is it very much more 9 to 5? Do you
Good
know?
question. I think it's probably more 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, New Zealand has a lot of farmers. It's a small country, so it's probably more 9 to 5. But in the cities, there's definitely a lot of freelancers, or a lot of people that like just work from home, so aren't necessarily freelancers, but have flexibility in their schedules and stuff. So I've got a few like software engineer friends and stuff that just are able to work from home now since COVID is just a lot more flexible. But it is, it's a great country to work in. It's easy. The tax system is so easy, which is nice. And I'm able to do all my taxes myself, which is fun.
Brilliant.
And whereabouts in New Zealand are you based?
I'm in Christchurch at the moment, but I've lived a little bit all over the place. At the beginning of the year, I actually lived in my van for 6 weeks. Yeah. So that's one of the perks of being freelancers. You can just work from a campground because you have internet.
There we go.
That's so cool.
Do you still have it?
No, we just sold it because we're moving to Australia next week.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so sad.
Before we go, we'd just like to do a quick game of Would You Rather. Would you rather live on a peaceful tropical island or a big bustling city?
Ooh, I think the big city.
Yeah.
I think I'd go a little bit mad I would love a tropical island for a vacation, but to live?
Too quiet.
I need things to do. Too quiet, yeah.
Would you rather have to start a new job every year until you retire, or have only one job for your entire career?
Probably a new job. I love my job at the moment, but if I had to only work with one type of client or one specific area of design, I think, I like the change. I love
the innovation.
I like the chaos.
Yeah.
Would you rather spend your money traveling the world but have few personal possessions, or have a really amazing house but never leave your hometown?
I pretty much already do the first one, so definitely.
I was going to say, I've got a new answer.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah, definitely the first one.
Would you rather have to wear all black every day for the rest of your life, or have to mix every colour of the rainbow into your outfit every day?
Every colour of the rainbow in every outfit. I think I'd probably just go black.
Yeah.
I love color, but every color of the rainbow, I think that would be too much for me.
It's extreme, isn't it?
Would you rather be able to talk with animals or speak every language?
Speak every language. I already want to learn so many languages. I'm not good at learning languages, but I would love to.
Would you? I was going to say, because you're from Montreal, so you don't speak French?
Yeah, I speak French, but I would I tried to learn Italian, I've tried to learn Spanish. I also want to learn sign language, so I've got a few under my belt that I want to actually learn properly. So one day.
Would you rather always be 1 hour late or 1 hour early to everything?
1 hour early.
Would you? Yeah. Would you rather be covered neck to toe in tattoos or have one big face tattoo?
Neck to toe. I love tattoos. I've got a few, but face is a bit much.
Yeah, like the whole face, imagine. Would you rather have to speak in rhyme for the rest of your life, or have to speak in riddles for the rest of your life?
Oh dear. Maybe speak in rhyme. I feel like speak in riddles, nobody would understand you ever.
It's just too hard.
Yeah. Would you rather have more time or more money?
Pretty happy with both, to be honest, but maybe more time. Time to learn those languages.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go. And would you rather be a freelancer or fully employed?
Oh, freelancer, 100%, million percent.
There you go.
And I'm sure people would love to follow your journey. I know you don't really do socials, but for the benefit of the podcast, can you let us know where we can find you on socials?
Yeah, so I'm mainly on Instagram, so at Pam Cheney. But I've also got my website. I try to post on Instagram. I'm just not very regular.
And what's your website called?
My website's pam-cheney.com.
Great.
Amazing.
Perfect.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much. That was
Thank
wonderful.
you. It was lovely chatting to you.
Thanks for listening to
Not the 9 to 5 podcast.
If you liked this episode, we would love for you to subscribe to our channel, where we release weekly podcasts every Monday.
Comment below to let us know who you'd like to see next on our podcast.
Give this video a thumbs up and maybe share it with a freelance friend or two.
Until next week, everyone.
Keep freelancing.